Okay, so from the title of the video, I think you can see what I'm going to be talking about. And you're just watching the, splash screen for Xenosaga because I am doing a let's play of this game right now, and, I am not very interesting to look at this time, and there's bad lighting in my room. So, yeah, you'll get this instead. So, how not to panic over COVID-19, this new coronavirus. So it has occurred. I've noticed that some people are getting really worried about this new virus and hoarding things, toilet paper among other things. But okay, fair enough. It is serious. It is, not just a common cold. It has a mortality that is, 2% sounds like a very low number, but if you compare it to, again, the common cold, I don't think anyone ever died of a common cold. Well, anyone who, doesn't have some severe immunodeficiency or that kind of thing. So that it has a mortality rate is a serious concern. You should absolutely be concerned about this. But, what is going to be causing the greatest disturbance in your everyday life are the measures we put in place in our different societies to limit the spread of the contagion, or try to contain it, quarantine it, wherever your country's at. So keep that in mind. That is going to cause a much bigger impact on society than people actually dying from this disease. I do really want to stress that I am not trying to make light of this situation at all. I mean, spoiler alert, I happen to live with my parents. They are kind of old. So if I end up exposed to this virus, I will become infected by it because this is a new virus. We do not have herd immunity to it. If I then bring it home and there are signs that I can be contagious even if I'm not symptomatic, they could die. So this is a very real concern for me, and I will still not panic. Just now, I can understand that in some locations we see some really apocalyptic, harrowing scenes, and I have really nothing to say that will help that in any way. But also, please keep in mind a 2% fatality rate, while still being considerable. This is not the plague. This is not Ebola. This is not Captain Trips. Oh, by the way, Stephen King, if you happen to be watching this, drop a comment. I promise I will be sufficiently Star Trek. But, I would be much happier if you just came to the Gothenburg book fair, so I could just have you autograph all my Black Tower books. No, Dark Tower. Anyway, yeah, while this is a really bad flu, it's not going to end humanity as a race. It is important to keep that in mind. Even if this virus spreads and affects all of these 6 or however many billions we are, at this point. There are going to be humans left, right? Now, I've heard numbers, fatality rates numbering from like 2 to 4% overall, but up to 20 for, 20% is an estimate for the age group of above 60 years of age. That's a little higher than 2%, yeah? Which is one reason why I really don't want to take that home with me, from work. Which actually is a concern. I do work at a hospital lab, and some samples may indeed be infected by this new fancy virus. I'm just looking for a calculator here. So yeah, it's a million. That is a billion, and 2% of a low estimate of 6 billion people. We are still at that time looking at potentially 120 million people that could die if we see a 100% infection rate. That is over 10 times the population of Sweden. I want to stress that. Although this would then be spread over the entire globe with a 100% infection rate, that is still a shit ton of people that could potentially die if this virus goes completely out of control. But yeah, at the stage we are in right now, unless you live in China, maybe in Italy and Iran, there's really no need to panic. Just follow your health officials' instructions. I mean, some countries, may be at, different levels of preparedness, and may know more or less about how to deal with infections, but USA notwithstanding, your governments really don't want their population to die if they can help it. Well, at least not from a virus. Yeah. Some countries are maybe a bit less amenable to human life than others. But if they don't tell you to panic, it is a pretty good bet that you do not need to panic, that you do not need to start hoarding things. Stuff like toilet paper and canned foods, they're not gonna go bad just like that. If you stock up on that, fine. Just keep in mind though that depending on how much you buy, that means that other people will also then not be able to buy those goods as well, and maybe they are currently out of toilet paper and kind of need that in their daily consumption. That is something that I feel a lot of people are not really paying enough attention to. Oh, almost spilled some hot tea on my controller. That would be bad. But yeah, sort of reflecting over this, another thing that actually we haven't really talked about, that I haven't really seen mentioned in the reporting, is how relatively infectious this virus is. If you compare it to the measles virus, the COVID virus, not such a big concern, really. I mean, if there's someone in the room, someone has been in the room like the same day that you enter it and have had measles, you will be exposed to that virus. This virus, well, I don't know for sure what infection vector it uses. Most likely it is a droplet spreading virus. That's to say, it attaches, or it is present in water droplets that we either cough out or like we have in our in our, what is it they call it, what we exhale. There's a bit of steam in it, right? When we breathe on a cold glass surface, we see a lot of waterfall. What is it? Fog, mist. Well, I mean, that's water. That's what I'm talking about. In that stuff, you will find viruses. Though you will find COVID-19 in those droplets. This is less contagious than measles, which isn't, well, which might not be saying a whole lot, actually, because the measles virus is probably the most contagious virus we've encountered. Well, it is the most contagious virus that I personally know about, which again doesn't say a whole lot because I do not know my viruses very well. But I mean, just imagine. Yeah, I'm going to throw a big old boot at the anti-vaxxers here, because the state that society is in right now, the measures that we have undertaken to limit exposures and spreading the contamination. Just imagine what that would be like if we would not vaccinate our kids against the measles. If we would all be susceptible to a measles infection. And yeah, just goddamn. We would see scenes like this. I mean, maybe not people dying, but you know, people being infected so much and all the time. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say right now. Just stay safe. Remember to wash your hands. That is the most critical thing that you can do. Hand sanitizers using like ethanol. I've been told that they actually do help. They usually don't work against viruses. But I'm told that this virus is a bit special in the way that it is actually, to a smaller extent, affected by ethanol. So, I mean, that is another thing you can do, but the main thing is wash your hands with water and soap. That is the single biggest thing you can do for yourself to keep yourself safe from this infection. Breath masks, fair enough. I don't think they help as much as washing your hands. Seriously, wash your hands. But if you do have this virus infection, you really should have a mask just to keep yourself from infecting others, containing the droplets, you know. Well, I think that is all I'm going to be saying about this, and now I will get to some Let's Play.